great pleasure in welcoming to today's show, Richard Shepherd. Richard, how are you doing? And what a fantastic surname you've got.
Indeed. I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. When I heard from you, I thought it was a prank from my brother because he's actually called Steve Shepherd as well.
Ah, what another fantastic name. Spelt the correct way too, I believe.
Indeed.
Now, you are local composer, singer, songwriter, musician. You are local to Bradley Stoke Radio. Richard, we've just heard a piece of music called Hopeful Awakenings. I'm going to get you to talk about that in a little while. But where did your musicianship, where did your music career first start? Was it singing in the bath or whistling on your way to work?
It was, well, my mum is very musical and she used to play the piano to me when I was a little kid. And my older brother, who's 3 years older than me, he was learning the piano. And like all younger brothers, you want to be like your big brother. I sort of badgered my mum from a very early age, from when I was about 3 years old, asking her if I could start piano lessons. So I started piano lessons at 5. I listened to a lot of Elton John, things like that, and also got into the flute as well when I was about 10. So as a young child, really, I really got into music. And then I started a band a bit later on when I was a bit older, but it was always like piano, flute, and voice.
I was going to ask who inspired you in the early years, but I think you may have answered that. But I will ask you again, who inspired you in the very beginning?
Well, my mum, obviously. My dad would also play lots of music to me. On a Saturday morning, he would get the record player out before breakfast and put on music. Like he introduced me to a lot of interesting music like Elton John and the Beatles and he has stuff like ABBA as well and John Williams, even the Wombles as well. I used to go crazy listening to the Wombles. So yeah, my mum and dad, both very important. But I suppose musically, when I was a little kid, I was very interested in like the pop videos of Michael Jackson, for example, Thriller and the Bad Album. Also big into Prince as well. Incredible musician and really exciting and weird and innovative sort of music. Albums like Sign of the Times, Purple Rain, Diamonds and Pearls, Parade, things like that. I love listening to that sort of stuff. I mean, I also like lots of classical music as well, like Mozart, the Magic Flute opera. I also like listening to like film scores like John Williams's Star Wars. So there's lots of eclectic, lots of different sort of stuff. My mum would sometimes play music to me before I went to bed. I remember she played to me something called The Minstrel Boy. And she would do things like she would talk about the music, like explaining the song before she would play. So I was always interested in music and its relationship with telling a story.
Do those same people inspire you today, or did you go off at a different tangent?
Well, I've got into more things as I've got older. For example, when I was like about 20 or so, my wife introduced, obviously I wasn't married at 20, but my girlfriend, then wife, and then became my wife, she introduced me to like musical theatre. We actually met doing a musical at university. We were doing West Side Story together.
Oh, amazing. One of my favourite musicals, just one of them amongst many. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. And I had to ask this, and which part did you play?
I was a jet and she was a shark. I always used to, well, it's not that funny, but I used to say, we triumphed where Tony and Maria failed. Because, yeah, so she sort of introduced me a lot to musical theatre. We saw Phantom of the Opera together. So yeah, I got into musical theatre a lot. My daughter's very much into musical theatre as well. And we play a lot of songs from like The Last 5 Years and Waitress and Wicked. I still listen to a lot of Prince. Prince is still very important. Do you know what? I've been listening, as I've been getting older, I listen to more Phil Collins for some reason.
Okay.
I don't know. But, I think there's something really amazing with some of his songs. Sometimes you forget how great a songwriter he is, songs like I Wish It Would Rain Down on Me, Against All Odds, and Kate Bush as well. That's another
Sure.
Another artist that my wife got me into. In the 90s, I really liked Tori Amos. And she said, not Tori Amos, my wife, she said, Kate Bush is better. You should have a listen.
Tell me about the music that you write. And you also sing as well, of course. What do you write about and what type of music do you write? Because I know you write songs, but you also write instrumental as well.
Yeah, well, what I'm really interested in is music and image. So what I quite like to do is think of like take pictures like of the countryside and things like that,
Okay.
and then try and put that into a video and then think of like what music would accompany that.
Yeah. Okay. You played a piece of music which was called Hopeful Awakenings. We heard that at the beginning of this chat. Briefly tell me, where did the inspiration for that come from?
Okay, so I'm a music teacher, and I thought it would be really interesting to show people how easy, or not necessarily easy, but how approachable composing can be. So I devised this little activity and I made a video whereby I wrote down all the letters from C up to C, basically an octave,
Mm,
each individual note.
mhm,
And I made a video, and in the video I explained what I was doing. I was going to take out three notes from my little bag of notes and put them on my piano, and then I was going to choose, and then I came up with different emotions. So one of the emotions was hopeful, one of them was romance, one of them was like, I don't know, disaster. It was three
mhm,
very different moods. And then the other one was like the form, the structure of the music. And so I picked out my three notes, I picked out an emotion, and I picked out structure. And then I set myself like 15 minutes and I played the three notes. So I think
mhm.
in this it was A sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. Yeah. So basically, I just started playing and I thought, okay, what sort of chord goes with that? And I literally, within that video, I was sort of explaining my rationale behind my decisions,
Mhm.
had some repetition. I thought about some answering phrases. I thought of, I sort of talked through what I was doing. And the intent behind it was to inspire people, maybe students who are writing music. And because it can be quite an overwhelming thing, you can turn it into a game and it doesn't need to be an arduous thing. It can be something that is fun. So basically, I did a short video and came up with some ideas. And then from that, I then took those ideas and then tried to craft it.
When you're gigging, you gig in the local area, do you?
At the moment, I don't gig as a sort of solo musician. I tend to do things like I play with the Gifford Ensemble now.
Mhm.
I play the flute in the local community orchestra that rehearses in Stoke Gifford. I play the flute, as I mentioned earlier. I play the flute in that, so that's what I tend to do at the moment. Presently, I sort of play with them, and then at home I just write music and put it on my YouTube channel.
And always looking for opportunities to perform, play, and take on
Yeah,
commissions, maybe?
absolutely. Yeah, I'm always looking for commissions, sort of doing music for adverts or TV, always open for opportunities. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
People will want to know if they can find out more about Richard Shepherd. Of course, they can. Tell them where they can go, please, Richard, your platforms, your social media, YouTube, etc.
Yeah, I've got a YouTube channel called, if you look at Piano Music Man 7002, and my email address would be pianomusicman 7002 at googlemail.com.
Hmm.
You can get in touch with me on my Facebook, Richard Shepherd. And as you know, it's the proper spelling of Shepherd.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, they're the main things.
And now we're going to listen to another piece of music. You've got 30 seconds to tell people what inspired you for Piano Awakening.
Right. Well, this piece of music, I wrote a piano duet for myself and my mum. And it's basically the piano duet, but I've then mixed it up and added some dance beats to it and added some weird sort of electronic sounds, really.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to get you, Richard Shepherd. Thank you very much indeed for taking time out to chat to me today. I'm going to get you, Richard Shepherd, to introduce that very piece of music.
Hi, my name is Richard Shepherd, and this is Piano Awakenings.
Richard, take care, all the best, and we hope to have you back on the show in a few months' time. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.